Hello, and welcome to the Otaku Clubhouse. And this is Sink or Swim. What is Sink or Swim? Well, it's where we discuss anime, video games, movies, and just about whatever media catches our eye. Then give our first impressions of them. From top to bottom, we give our ratings of a swim, a tread, a float, a drowning, and at worst, a sink. Comments are always welcome, and of course, we're waiting to hear what you have to say too. Let's get into it.
Alright, we just got finished watching Platinum Men. This series by the creator of Death Note. The main character, Mirai Kakashi, we are introduced to him. You know, he's having a bad day of sorts, and we later find out that it's kind of a bad life. He's in a convenience store, the 12-8 convenience store, not the 7-Eleven, the 812. And he's contemplating shoplifting a delicious milling pan, but at the last second, he just takes it out of his pocket, puts it back on the shelf. So, establishing character moment right there. Next scene, he's on top of a building and he's, I'm sick of the bullshit! Jumps off. Establishing character moment number 2. Just before he hits the ground, he is saved by a mysterious creature. It turns out to be an angelic being, a literal angel, well, not a biblically accurate angel, named Nase, who saves him from killing himself. Says that she's always been watching over him and that she just wants him to be happy. She offers him some tools to be happy. He can have wings that will let him fly anywhere, or he can have like Cupid arrows to shoot people and make them fall in love with him. He's like, man, I'm sick of the bullshit, I just want to die, why don't you give me both, haha. And then she does, and he's like, oh wow, I'm surprised that actually works. He's still being a bit of a Debbie Downer, and he just tried to kill himself, and as he uses his angel wings and flies around with some very beautiful animation, he has a revelation. And he realizes that maybe not killing myself is all that bad. And this is where you think that the tone of this anime, you're like, what? This can't be by the Death Note guy. But we'll talk about that. We'll talk about where it goes. So, what did you guys think?
I'm hopefully not spoiling too much about it, but yeah, I basically am. I was very positive on this episode. The older I get, the more I realize how much I fucking loved Death Note, like, all around. There's a lot of really silly things in Death Note, and there's a lot of really silly things with what I've read of Bakuman. I've never finished that, but I honestly think the writer of Death Note and Bakuman, Sugumi Oba, I think that they might just be one of the better shonen writers.
I wouldn't say that. I think that's kind of a reach.
A reach?
Yeah,
huh?
I think that might be kind of a reach, bro.
But dude, so far it's been like 3 for 3.
Yeah.
I'll say 2.5 for 3.
I mean, well, hang on. You know what? Actually, yeah, I'm getting a bit ahead of myself with Platinum End. That first episode was really good, but with all my positivity, there was admittedly a moment that had me roll my eyes a little bit. And I'm sure that both Gato and Hawk here probably heard it like immediately and thought, I bet you Akuma's rolling his eyes. The fact that what was essentially set up is a death game.
Yeah.
It's not an actual death game, but it's essentially a death game. And
oh, I thought you were talking about when he showed up in Ireland and you're like, Ireland? Get the fuck out of here.
I mean, if I go to Ireland, I'm visiting all the fucking castles and sitting on the fucking thrones, but that's just me. But yeah, I kind of rolled my eyes a little bit when I heard that there was going to be 13 other, or 12 other god candidates, and I felt like, man, this felt like this was off to such a good fucking start. You don't have to do this fucking pseudo-tournament weird shit. But then they showed me the motherfucker in the tokusatsu suit, and I was like, alright, that's kind of cool looking.
Yeah, so the setup for this series is that, you know, it just so happens that angels who give humans these blessings, if a human gets both of them, if they're being a little smartass like Mirai, then they become a god candidate. And that literally means what you think it means, is that they're competing to become God. And apparently God is just some guy who's just like, oh man, I need a retirement. let me create a death game. And you know, what does this remind me of? It reminds me of High Rise
Invasion.
High Rise Invasion, except it's not completely shit. I can say that off the first episode because I knew that High Rise Invasion was completely shit off the first episode of that.
Hey, we'll discuss that at another time. But, you know, we didn't get Hawkeye's opinion on the first episode. What'd you think?
Alright, this might be kind of cap, right? I'm thinking that it's like, this should have came out a couple years ago.
With the anime?
Yeah.
Because in context, the manga did come out quite some time ago, and it's only just now getting animated. It probably got delayed because of COVID and stuff.
Well, I don't know about that, but the manga's at least over, so we're probably going to get the entirety of the manga. But go ahead, continue.
I just feel like if I didn't watch like a bunch of garbage beforehand, like High Rise Invasion and shit, and other mediocre death games, I'd probably be a little bit more interested in this. The main character, you know, he's had a hard life. I don't know, it's kind of hard to empathize with him for some reason. I think it's just like the shape of his face. He looks like the guy from...
He looks like Light. He just looks like a blue-haired Light.
Nah, he doesn't look like Light. He looks like the guy from that one anime.
Inuyashiki.
With the old dude. Inuyashiki, yeah, he looks like that guy.
He just looks like a blue-haired Light.
I mean, he looks... I mean, it's kind of both.
But, aside from, like, just the setting... I like the animation, you know, it looked pretty good, especially like Gato said, when he was flying, it looked, you know, very graceful. Animation, they flexed on the animation when he was flying across the water.
Yes, they actually did. They wanted to show that they have a budget.
And they don't have to dodge taxes to do it neither.
You can't be saying
allegedly.
This.
It's not allegedly, they fucking admit. Anyways, sidetrack again. Yeah, just to get a little bit more into the character of Mirai. He is not a light Yagami, as a matter of fact. He seems to be, like I said, the establishing character moments. They went out of their way to portray him as, like, you know, a thoughtful guy before he even said anything. And as we learn his backstory, he had a very loving, very kind of rich family, but then they died in an accident. And I'm doing air quotes right now. And then he finds out from his guardian angel Nase that it wasn't an accident at all. And we get a flashback to that scene, and it's just like, yeah, here's Mirai as a kid, and his family's getting in their car. And he's like, oh wait, I forgot my doll from in the house, hee hee. His dad starts up the car and it just fucking blows up, dude. Oh man, it's pretty good.
Yeah, and yeah, it's a pretty fucking expedient way of getting your character some immediate points, but I feel that this entire episode, despite the fact that it's on one, like, straightforward line, I feel that it did a perfect job of encapsulating what the series is going to be for the most part. I assume that there's going to be a few scenes of silly fights and stuff, but I also want to assume, since it's the writer of Death Note, that there's going to be a bit more thought-provoking battles than there are going to be, like, actual hand-to-hand fist fights. Then again, I also saw that motherfucker in the tokusatsu suit, so I don't know. Maybe.
I kind of feel like this is closer. It's going to be closer in tone to Death Note than to a typical death battle. You know, pull out your cell phone, pull out your flashbang.
Why did you have to bring up those two specifically? I know which ones you're talking about.
But yeah, so especially when we get to see how these powers work, like, okay, well, literally the flight is just like super speed flight. He flies from Japan to Ireland to somewhere in South America. I think it was like Peru or something, or wherever the fuck those. I think that might be Mexico. And then he flies back to Japan all in the same night. So he has super speed, whatever. And then the other thing is these arrows. The red arrow gives him, like, when whoever he shoots it with, he can manipulate emotionally. They fall in love with him. They'll do anything he says. Even if they are in the right mindset. It's not complete mind control, but it's like hypnotic suggestion, And if the person is already predisposed into thinking that way, it will happen. For example, Nase tells him about his family's death not being an accident. It was actually planned by his aunt and uncle, and she said to use the red arrow to find out the truth. He uses it on his aunt, his blood-related aunt, by the way. Gross. And she starts thirsting after him. Also gross.
Yeah.
She reveals the truth to him, and the uncle comes in, starts... I'm not gonna say any names, but he starts hitting his wife like a certain somebody, and then he's just like, "Wow." Mariah's like, "This is so horrible. I wish you guys would just die." And since she's still under his control from the red arrow, his aunt literally fucking kills herself with a fucking knife, dude. So yeah, the power set that they've explained so far. I think it's gonna have a lot more thought power to it than to just be like me punch, me kick, me energy.
Especially since he has the fucking the F1 button from Mugen.
The instant kill. The other power, his white arrow, just instantly kills people.
Not only instantly kills people, kills them with 100% possibility of killing them with 100% accuracy.
So if you ever read the story named Harry Potter, I don't know if it's very popular, but I seem to notice a little bit of influence from that. There's 100% killing spell, and the main character was raised by an abusive aunt and uncle.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's where the similarities end, like unironically.
I would actually hope so. But let's talk a little bit about probably the two most shown characters in this being Nase and Mirai. So...
Well, Nase is a little cheeked up for an angel. I'm just saying, dog. I ain't want to be the one to say it, but the first time you see it is if you see the fucking inside of her fucking ass crack flying through the goddamn air. Finna say.
Yeah.
But don't worry, normal humans can't see her, but they can hear her approaching.
Yeah.
What were you gonna say about it? I was gonna suggest that
skip over talking about Nase? Yeah, I think so too. But
I was gonna say about her personality.
She's one of these characters that's meant to be, or at least I assume meant to be, very upbeat and very attached. Most people would find her personality along with her voice to be kind of grating. I don't know, I kind of like it. I like how, in love she actually seems to be with this motherfucker, where she's just like, no, that's just how it is, I care, I want you to be happy. No, you should definitely kill him. No, just do it, just blow his fucking head off.
I don't think it's a in love sort of thing. I think it's more of a it sounds kind of fucked up, but it's more like a pet owner with their pet,
maybe. I see what you're getting at. Like, she cares about him, she loves him, cares about him, but isn't in any form in love.
Right. Like, no, attraction.
Well, we don't know.
It's her duty. She's duty bound. It's
literally just the first episode.
Take care of.
But I was gonna say, as a contrast to Death Note, where Light would do something fucked up and Ryuko would be like, "Oh, that was fucked up." This seems to be the opposite of that, where Nase's just suggesting you should just kill him. You should kill him. Maybe you should kill him. And then Mariah's just like, "What are you talking about? Aren't you supposed to be an angel?" And I kind of like that dynamic.
One thing that they did knock out pretty instantly too is the fact that Gato mentioned it, and I kind of thought so too. When you think about the fact that, there are angels coming down from heaven, is this possibly related in any way to the Death Note universe? And no, it doesn't seem like it is at any level.
They say, hold on, I just want to add here that I made sure to make a mental note of it. They say that devils don't exist. Devils are not Shinigami. Shinigami are deaf guys. They have a very specific purpose. They're not evil. So if one day he wanted to do some fucking gay little crossover, he could. He left the door open for that. But as far as we know, there is no overlap right now.
So you mean to tell me that there's a possibility that Donald Trump might get the fucking angel power and be able to force all of America to love him?
Oh shit. God. Oh man. Can we just briefly talk about that? Yeah, the Death Note one shot was fucking crazy. and it was decent. It was good for like continuing a story, doing a one shot to continue the story after like 10 years.
Yeah.
Didn't fuck anything up. It was fine.
It didn't destroy anything. It didn't like fucking make anything too ridiculous. People initially were upset. They were like, "Oh, Light, they disrespected Light because it showed that somebody was just as smart as him," which that's completely wrong. Because Light had a crazy long-term plan that had a million plot holes because that motherfucker kept going bigger and bigger. Meanwhile, the main character from the Death Note spinoff had one plan. It was a short-term plan, and it worked out for him.
Yeah, well, it almost worked out for him, but because he said, "All right, Ryu, don't bother me again," and Ryu was like, scratching his head. Well, if I don't tell you this, you're gonna die, but I guess you'll just die.
Yeah.
Spoilers, by the way. But I guess we're at the end of this. Anyways.
Yeah, we're just about at the end of this. Ultimately, I'm gonna just go flat out and say I'm giving this a swim. I fucking love this first episode. I'm very interested in seeing where this goes. Again, I'm also kind of a Death Note fanboy, but, you know, I'm very interested in seeing what comes next. I think it'll be pretty good.
Yeah, this is an easy swim for me. Like, I clearly want to keep watching this. Want to see what happens. I'm surprised I didn't read the manga. Surprised I never got around to it. Maybe if somebody would have suggested it to me.
You know what? I'm gonna just say it was a fluke because I feel like it's like 3 years too late. I think they should have jumped on the craze before all of the shitty Death games came out and burned me out of it.
What is that?
So I'm gonna say it's a float. I'm not particularly interested in watching it. It hasn't really like done anything to differentiate itself enough for me to be sitting here waiting with bated breath every week.
Did you read the manga partially?
Yeah, like fucking 4 years ago.
So how is that too late?
Come on.
Whatever. Let's just end the video.
Well,
don't argue with me, nigga.
Like, comment, and subscribe. Let us know what you think about this, and we'll see you guys in the next one.
Logic doesn't make no sense to me.